You can just mute me for the show and just guess what I'm saying.
A podcast where two people don't know what each of them are talking about, but they just know when they're not talking.
Yeah.
That'd actually be really funny.
We could try that for like a 5-minute bonus or something.
All right. I'm making a bet that 2 field goals will be kicked.
Not even that. It's maximum of 2?
Exactly 2.
Exactly 2.
Not counting extra points. No, wait, I'm changing that to 3.
All right.
Exactly 3.
My bet is that there will be 3 penalties.
All right, I'll take that bet.
Why is that very high?
No, there's going to be way more penalties. Can't take it back.
All right. That's fine with me.
All right, let's start the show.
Okay. I'm host.
Oh,
so
great.
Show done. I mean, you can host if you want, but
no, go for it.
You could edit it to make it look like you're the host. Not that
I dub over your voice.
Every single thing I say is just you. Yeah, you're editing this time. I was going to say something about that, but I can't remember. Whatever. Well, welcome to the show. It's Paragraph Despair Show. It's me, Anton, and
Chris.
And we just talk about now we're doing 3 topics per episode. What we've got lined up today is we're going to go over the Nintendo Direct announcements.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go over your experience working with Letterbox, the movie tracking app, and then we'll finish up with a fun little game where President's Day is coming up, and we'll guess what year different presidents took office and see who's closer to get some points.
All right. What's the score?
The score is currently 17 Chris, 16 Anton.
So I'm winning.
You are absolutely winning by a single point.
Right.
And let me just do some like quick little math.
It's 1.
Yep. Looks like we're 1 point different. No, you have 6% more points than me, which does sound...
so you're doing it in percentages.
Yes, it helps me think it better. Ratios.
You could just say, I mean, 1. There's no scale too. Like we don't have we don't know the full amount of points there are.
No, it's just when we get to the end of the quarter, which is fast approaching. We have what?
That's the end of March.
Yeah, I guess we have basically 6 episodes left, so it's not that fast approaching.
Yeah, I mean, we're only like 4 into the year.
Yeah, it's true.
So I guess we're halfway.
But when we get to the end of the quarter, we will, I don't know, announce the winner and restart the points.
All right.
How was your week?
Amazing.
Really?
No, nothing happened. It was not end of discussion.
Okay. Mine was similar.
Well, that's great that we got that out of the way.
Yeah. So, first topic.
Well, the first topic, you're really excited about this.
Oh, yes.
And I'm going to ask you a lot of questions because I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't look into this at all. I did not watch the video you told me to watch.
Okay, good. Well, maybe that will help.
All I know is there is going to be a new Wii Sports game
for
the Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
So do you want to tell us about Nintendo Direct announcements?
Sure. So I wrote down all of them, and I don't know that it's really worth going over them. You can go
Yeah, there's
online
about
and
20
find
here,
them.
so we're not gonna
Yeah,
go one by one.
no, we're just gonna go through the ones that I think are the
That'd be the
most
whole
interesting.
podcast.
Yeah, it would be. So before we get into what was announced, I think I did want to go over real quick what wasn't announced.
Mhm.
One was that there was no update on Breath of the Wild, which is
Right.
the sequel to that Zelda game that was really big. No updates on Mario Odyssey sequel or anything about Mario. It's basically been 5 years since both of those games. There's been zero talk of any kind of Mario Kart sequel. That game came out on the Wii U, Mario Kart 8, and then was
Right.
re-released on the Switch. So there has
Mhm.
not been a new Mario Kart game in I don't know how many years, a very long time. They've just been keeping getting money out of the one that they made so long ago and re-releasing it.
I mean, how many variations? What are you gonna do?
It's a really good
You can only
question.
drive around in circles for so much. Like
Yeah,
what? You know, invent new things to shoot at each other with. Come on.
basically. I mean, the Mario Kart 8 innovation was the anti-gravity tracks that you could like
Right.
go upside down on. But there was an update for Mario Kart 8, but no sequel talk. So there's 48 new tracks being added to Mario Kart 8, which is kind of gigantic. That's a lot. I think that's even more tracks than were already in the game. And you can only get them with the Nintendo Switch Online expansion.
So that's how they get you.
Yeah. They have a lot of weird things that you can only get with the Nintendo Switch Online, and it seems very hodgepodge. So
Do you feel that's a misstep on behalf of Nintendo, or does it make sense considering what they're releasing on there? Or would you have rather seen them make the effort to just develop something new and release it as is?
all along, people have said, Nintendo, why do you keep re-releasing new versions of games? Why not just like make DLC for
Which
these
is
things?
slang for downloadable content.
Yes, yeah. For any old person watching this. So a lot of people have been like, for example, Smash Brothers. Why make a Smash Brothers game over and over again? Why not just like keep expanding on it?
Updating.
Yeah, and updating it, which is basically
Yeah.
what you do with a lot of these PC games like Fortnite, Counter-Strike. A lot of these things are just like out and they keep updating it and it perpetually gets better over time. So Nintendo Switch Online is like a really weird, confusing, I don't know what they're trying to do system. Because like in some ways, yeah, they're releasing DLC for some things, but then it's almost like they're trying to dabble with the idea of this to see how it would go. Because it's I think $50 a year for the Nintendo Switch Online with the expansion. And what that gives you is the Mario Kart DLC. It gives you some Animal Crossing extra features. It gives you a full catalog of, well, not full catalog, but a lot of N64 games, which I've been actually playing through and having some fun with.
Okay.
And Sega Genesis.
But the problem with that, as we pointed out, they didn't give you GoldenEye.
They haven't, no. Although I have played GoldenEye, and it's not as fun as I remember. No, it doesn't hold up. It was fun at the time, and it introduced a lot of ideas that are common in first-person shooters now, but it doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm curious. We have this list that we're looking at of all the updates. Is there anything that you're curious about?
Well, I was gonna say the same question out of this list. What are your favorites? Top three.
Sure.
Because for me, nothing beats the news that a new Wii Sports is coming out.
Switch Sports.
Switch Sports.
Yeah.
It's Wii Sports. It'll always be Wii Sports.
I mean, that is pretty cool, especially if they get good online play going.
Mhm.
It would be a lot of fun to play tennis with you or something, or golf with you online.
Yeah. And like we still like my family, my nephew still has a original Wii just for that. The sports. So
Oh,
like
wow.
so it's something like the whole family can play. And it's just like a fun thing to do that doesn't feel like playing a video game.
For sure.
Like it feels like you're doing something.
And they have a lot more
Uh
games in this one too.
yeah. So really exciting news.
It is.
Anyways,
Um, so that's the one that's most exciting to you. Um, so
top three.
the absolute top item is Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which I already knew was coming out, but every single thing that they show about this game
Is Kirby the small pink fellow?
yes.
Okay. And what is Kirby's deal?
He lives in Dreamland. I don't know. I don't understand the backstory.
Expand on that.
He is.
I never understood Kirby at all. I know what Kirby looks like.
Yeah.
I thought he was in the Pokemon universe.
Oh no.
And then it turns out that's not it.
So Kirby is. I feel like they just came up with a character for the sake of a character. I mean, Mario, what's his deal? Like, he's just a Popeye knockoff.
Italian plumber.
Yeah. That's what you want to know? You want to know the nationality of Kirby?
Well, no, but part of Mario's character is that he's Italian.
Yeah. Kirby, I guess, is he's a thing. He lives in Dreamland, and sometimes bad stuff happens. Yeah.
I didn't know there was such a high crime rate in Dreamland that it needs this this godlike superhero figure to emerge out of the ashes of dismay and mayhem.
Yeah. It is. It's such a weird, like.
That's what I kind of love about Nintendo is everything. It's like for kids, but it's also like, where are they coming up with this? But like no kids play it, but like everyone plays it.
Yeah. Well, it's like Pixar movies too. Yeah. I mean, the quality of the games are so high that they're for everybody, and they just don't have anything in them that would prohibit or like would exclude kids. Like there's violence, but it's cartoonish, and there's not like really complex concepts to understand, so it's good for both.
Yeah. No, they're fun.
Yeah.
All right. So Kirby's number one with a bullet.
Yeah.
Do you have more to talk about that game release, or do you want?
No, I'm just excited for that to come out. Nothing new there.
So there is no 2 or 3. It's just Kirby. Forget the rest.
Oh no, there's a 2 and a 3. But Kirby's definitely the number one thing. I would honestly say I'm probably looking forward to Switch Sports as my number 2 as well.
Yeah, that's gonna reinvent gathering with your friends to play the Switch.
Yeah. So Switch, they said it was going to have a longer life cycle.
Yeah.
Than normal Nintendo consoles. That they were probably going to have it last 7.
Which is part of why I invested in it.
Yeah.
I purchased the Switch, even though I don't really play games that much.
Well, I think
it'll have long-lasting playing value.
Yeah, especially when Switch Sports comes out. Like, so Switch came out 2017. That's like 5 years ago. So people are saying that we're roughly halfway through its lifespan. And I would imagine we'll get that. We know we're going to get the Breath of the Wild sequel, I would assume, before we have any kind of Switch successor console.
Wait, we're already halfway through the Switch lifespan?
Yeah, it came out March of 2017. So March of this year will be 5 years.
Oh, so we have another 5 years. All right, 5 years.
Roughly. I mean, I'm just going based on Nintendo saying 7 to 10 years for the Switch. But with the Switch Sports coming out, I feel like it's almost like a revamp of the energy. I think there was a lot of games announced at this
That's true.
direct on top of games.
I mean,
we know
releasing a game that really takes advantage of the console itself and also brings in like non-gaming people. It's just a really big deal.
Yeah, it is.
End of thought.
Well, I mean, Switch has also already outsold the Wii, even without having like a Wii Sports game. So now with it coming out, maybe it's going to take it to that next level.
The sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Life as we know it, humanity itself will no longer be the same.
I hope so.
April. Wait, is it April it's coming out?
Yeah. Well, there's a play test starting this week. So online play test starting February 18th, and then it releases April 29th.
I don't know what this post Wii Sports world is going to look like, but I'm excited.
We'll just all be playing Wii Sports all the time, or Switch Sports.
And there will be no other, like, there will be no pain or happiness. There will only be Wii Sports.
That sounds like a cult.
All right, number 3.
So number 3 is a tie, and then there's one last thing I want to touch on before we finish out.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played it. I really enjoy like simplified strategy games, or strategy games in general.
What's the difference between a strategy game and a simplified strategy game?
Okay. When I say simplified, I guess I more mean turn-based strategy game.
Okay.
So I do like StarCraft, but it's real time.
Something happens, and then you have to like counter that.
Yeah, and you get time to decide. Like you do it at your own pace, and you can think through it.
Or kind of like that game that we played on a previous episode of the podcast, Chrono Trigger.
Yes, exactly. Speaking of which, the sequel to Chrono Trigger is coming out on Switch, Chrono Cross.
Chrono Trigger 2 Trigger Cross?
No. I don't know much about Chrono Cross, but apparently it's like a sequel that nobody thinks has anything to do with the first one.
Oh, okay.
But my number 3 is there's Advance Wars 1 and 2 remake.
Mm-hmm.
Advance Wars were Game Boy games that came out, I think it was called Advance Wars because it came out on the Game Boy Advance. And they're totally remaking it in 3D with 3D graphics and all of that. But I think it's the same game otherwise. And those are really good games. They're very well designed, a lot of fun. If they put an online mode and you can play like against each other, that would be real cool. And I would recommend maybe you trying it out sometime, and maybe we can play against each other. And then the other strategy game is Triangle Strategy, which is a game that it's from the same people at Square that made the Octopath Traveler game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got that similar art style where it's like 2.5D, where it looks like Super Nintendo style graphics, but it's in like 3D. So it's got this like neat vibe to it, and it's very cozy. But it's a strategy game versus like a straight up RPG game. So that looks fun to me. So those are tied for my 3. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on real briefly is Metroid.
Okay.
It's one-hit death mode.
What's that mean?
Metroid Dread was already a hard game, and now they made it so that they made a mode.
Oh, I played Metroid.
You die. What?
I played the original, or no, the second Metroid, didn't I?
You played technically the third Metroid.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But you played Super Metroid.
Okay. Well,
That's it.
exciting news coming out of Nintendo World.
Yeah,
This was a big deal.
it was pretty big. Yeah.
It's how long has it been since the last Nintendo update like that?
I don't know. Maybe the summer, maybe the fall. I can't really remember.
All right.
But yeah, that's the end of that segment.
All right. So I've been starting the new year. Everyone's got their things that they try in the new year. So I, for probably about maybe the third time, thought, hey, let me give this Letterbox a try. But I don't want to use it like Letterbox. Like, I don't want to leave reviews and like make my opinion known. I just want to use it as a personal reminder of what I watched, because I feel like I watch a lot of movies and then I don't remember that I watched them. Or like I can't pinpoint the weekend, like, did I watch this last year? And then I'm like, I know I thought I watched this. And then I'll go in and see, I'll watch the first 10 minutes and realize, oh yeah, I've seen this. Like I'm starting, my memory is starting to deteriorate where I don't remember that I watched movies. So Letterbox is helping me out with that. I've logged in about 15 movies this year. These are Letterbox stats.
Okay. I mean, the year's still young.
Yeah. And there's still a lot of, like, February is I haven't watched as many as January, but we're still only not even halfway through February.
And
well, tomorrow will be halfway.
Are you logging every single movie you've seen since the beginning of this year?
Yes.
And you've only seen 15. Interesting.
Why? How many have you seen?
Probably less than that, but 15 seems like a low number. But now that we're talking about it, probably isn't that low, honestly. It's kind of a commitment to watch a movie.
Maybe 2 to 3 a week.
Yeah, I mean, it's 30 hours to watch.
There's TV, and I think I didn't count. Like, I only counted movies that I started and finished. Like, I think I, gave up on a couple. I think I even there might have been 1 or 2 that slipped through the cracks, but then I thought, well, if I forgot about it, it wasn't important.
Sure.
But I don't know. Maybe I do have them all. So, top rated movie of this year so far for me.
Do I have to guess it?
Yeah.
Do I get a point if I guess it?
Yeah. There's 2 answers. I have mentioned it on a previous podcast. Because there's some so to really utilize this platform, or at least for me, is I'm generally pretty receptive of most movies. Like, unless you're not just like, as long as you're like, it could be a bad movie.
Yeah.
Just don't bore me.
Sure.
It could be a good movie, but like, okay, meh movies. I'm gonna be a little. I'm generally easy to please, and I will rate movies as just either good or bad.
Yeah.
But I'm really trying to use the full scale of the 5-star rating for my own personal logging in. So I'm being harsh on the stars.
Yeah. Actually, I spend a lot of time whenever I use Letterbox really thinking through what the stars I'm going to give a movie. If I was to guess, is this just movies that came out or like recently?
No, I mean, they're the movies that have. I mean, the oldest movie is from. That might be another question, so I won't tell you. But it's from I watch online. It's from the theaters.
Okay.
So, like, starting in January.
I think I'm wildly wrong, and it's probably some old movie that you watched from the 90s that is your highest rated. But I'm gonna go with Nightmare Alley.
You are wrong. I gave Nightmare Alley 3.5 stars out of 5.
Yeah, you remember? You told me that
2
last
answers. Episode. Goodfellas, because Goodfellas just gets a solid 4.
And Donnie Brasco.
No, Donnie Brasco, I only gave 2.5 out of 5.
Oh wow.
I was a little harder on that one because it wasn't as good as Goodfellas. I gotta
Okay.
separate them.
Goodfellas, you give a
The other
4?
the other movie is I rewatched the documentary Capturing the Freedmans, which I haven't seen in like 10 years.
Never even heard of that.
It's nuts. I will leave it up to you and the listeners to look it up because I'd rather not talk about how sad and terrible the figures in the documentary are.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I will save us from that conversation because I'd
All
rather
right.
not talk about it.
Okay.
It's sad. It's just a whole sad documentary, but there's good themes on kind of truth and guilt and how people commit crazy, heinous acts, and like how would people cope with them and admit to themselves that what they did.
Like Jackass.
It leaves you wondering what actually happened while knowing what likely happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually made by the same, I didn't know this until I looked it up, same director that did the Jinx series with Robert Durst, who
Okay.
admitted on camera that he killed a person.
Mm.
But anyways, crazy documentary, classic from the early 2000s on HBO. So 15. All right. So what's the oldest movie on my list? Guess the year. If you're within 5 years, I'll give it to you.
Frick. I don't know. Sunset Boulevard. I have no idea.
No, you don't have to pick the actual movie. Just pick the year.
Oh, that's a lot easier to try to guess any movie you've seen. 1954.
Yep, you're within 5 years. 1950, which is the same year Sunset Boulevard came out, but it's a different movie. Panic in the Streets. It's this movie made, I think, by Elia Kazan, who would go on to make some pretty significant movies, like On the Waterfront and some others. But they made this movie in 1950. It was about a plague outbreak on the port of New Orleans. And this is in 1950. And it's about this health official like trying to stop the spread.
Right.
The problem is like patient 0 was involved with a crime. So he has to find out who murdered patient 0 to stop the spread, because the person that has now gotten the plague was also guilty of committing the crime. So it's kind of like a noir thriller, but with a hint of like, contact tracing. Like there's a scene where they're just like, all right, everyone here, you're getting a shot. He just injects everyone. Yeah, like, well, no one was complaining back then.
No, people were maybe more trusting at that time.
Yeah, I mean, there was some. I think there was a character that was like, Donald, what are you doing? But good movie, good kind of. I think it was part of the Fox Studios line of noir films that I saw in Criterion had curated, kind of in the same bunch as the original Nightmare Alley, which is why I came across it.
When did Fox Studios
which is
start?
also on my list. So I'm gonna give you some highlight ratings.
Sure.
So aside from the 2 4-star reviews of Goodfellas and Capturing the Freedmans, the 3.5s come in with Nightmare Alley, the newest movie, Panic in the Streets, the one I was just telling you about, and then Tragedy of Macbeth. Those were the 3.5s out of 5.
Oh, okay.
3s out of 5s. I have Licorice Pizza.
Aren't I supposed to guess these for some points?
Nah, I already gave you a point because you got the year. I'm not gonna just toss up points for you.
Oh, let's get
That's how I get myself in trouble.
All right, 1717.
So my 3 stars are Licorice Pizza, and Dark Waters, which was this movie made by, I think Todd Haynes. It was pretty good. It was about the so DuPont and like 3M basically poisons 99% of America. That they like we all have like forever chemicals in us because of like the chemical based around Teflon, for the pans. And they basically just like never gave a shit about disposing of toxic waste responsibly. So like everyone just has chemicals in them, just through like eating products off of it and like, just having it be everywhere. And so this is about the litigation around that. Mark Ruffalo plays an attorney and starts with helping a farmer out because all of his like cattle are getting these gross growths on their like neck, and their teeth are rotting, and like all this like crazy stuff that's just happening because the water has just been muddied up with chemicals leaked from DuPont.
Gross.
And it was just it's depressing just because of how like companies like DuPont will just like litigate for decades long, like, and it doesn't really affect anything. And then it's just kind of, we all have chemicals in us now, which no one really cares about. People will be mad about getting the vaccine, but not mad at companies for like basically poisoning all of us.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Anyways, good movie. Some 2.5 out of 5. I got The Hunt for Red October because I went through my Tom Clancy early 90s thriller phase when I watched The Hunt for Red October and Patriot Games, which I gave 2 stars for Patriot Games. Oh, Copland was another 3-star. Pretty good.
Is that recent?
Copland came out in 97.
Oh, okay.
Pretty decent, cop movie. Not more to say about it. I mean, there's some other ones. Towards the bottom, earlier last week, I jumped into the Bossiverse. I don't know if you're aware about this cinematic universe of horrible bosses. So I watched Horrible Bosses, and then I watched Horrible Bosses 2.
Oh, wow.
I gave Horrible Bosses 1 star out of 5, and Horrible Bosses 2 1.5 star out of 5.
It got better.
Yeah, but only because like they just like made it better. But
the quality of the production was
I just
higher?
feel like the mesh of the characters made a little more sense, and like they kind of gave up on like, I don't know, like they really forced some things. This was the time when studio comedies were like a thing, and like they're so generic, like these comedies that would come out, and like they're not like even that funny. They just kind of, I don't know how to describe it. They just have these annoying bro characters that talk really fast, and then they'll have like funny things about them, and then they bank on that for like 20 minutes, and then it goes on with the movie, and then like like they show like how horrible their bosses are, and then like one of the bosses just like straight up murders someone, and you're like,
Oh.
it doesn't even make sense. Not to say I didn't like, I gave them harsh reviews, but I watched Horrible Bosses 2 after watching Horrible Bosses. Did I enjoy watching them? Yes.
So why'd you give them 1s?
Because I have to rate on the quality of how they stand.
I guess that's important to know what your rating scale is focused on.
Right. I can't like, I just have to watch every movie. I can't just like say this movie is terrible I gotta get something out of it.
So
Even,
the way I look at these rating systems is, do I want more of this or not?
Mhm.
And less about like the quality of it. So
Yeah.
like I would probably give it like a 3 or something if I enjoyed it.
Right, but I can enjoy bad movies
Yeah, but
as
you
long as I
probably
know
won't.
what they are, and as long as I know what the movie is trying to do.
With these rating, I mean, these rating systems are meant to give you recommendations. And if you give a
No,
thing you like, don't
they're
like.
trying to get me to just log in the movie. I don't really care about the ratings themselves.
Okay.
I'm just checking them off.
All right.
Well, that's my Letterbox recap. I'll check back in a couple months. I'm gonna try to keep it up for the whole year and do a kind of a year. I like the idea that I'm logging in these movies. I'm logging in the day I watch them, and I'm logging in kind of a quick out of 5-star rating of them. I'm not like
Mhm.
writing any notes about them. I might consider it, but I don't think I will. And if
Okay.
I do, they would just be for myself as a reminder.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah. But I'm interested in gathering the stats of my viewing habits and really kind of taking the time to like make note of the things I watch, that so I'm not just like watching them and forgetting.
Um, why?
Because I want to know, like, I want to look at, like, I can look at this list right now because like if I didn't have this letterbox list, I would have totally forgot I watched this movie. What I watched this movie with Aubrey Plaza and Michael Caine, where Michael Caine is like a writer and Aubrey Plaza is like a book publisher.
Mm,
And it's just like a 90-minute whatever comedy that came out like last year. I would never in a million years remember this movie ever again unless I looked at this list and go, oh yeah, I watched that on February 5th. And like
so why
now
is that important to you to know that though?
I just want I want to see it on the list and remember it.
So this is like to mitigate dementia?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I mean, you could record a lot of things. You could record the meals you eat and the clothes you wear.
Yeah, but I don't care about that. I just care about movies.
Okay.
All right. That's Letterbox recap.
So President's Day is coming up, but probably maybe slightly a week after we record this, and we thought we would celebrate it by
Yeah,
playing a
we're
game.
going hard this year.
Yeah. All in, we're gonna really actually recognize it's a holiday and remember that it is one.
Yeah.
To celebrate,
And
we're gonna
look, I know some of our listeners think they are lizard people that are in disguise as humans, but we don't judge.
Nope. And we're gonna celebrate what year these lizard people were inducted into office. So
All right.
what I've
Oh wait, how
coded
many
up,
rounds?
we're gonna do 10 rounds. Doesn't matter
All
if
right.
there's a tie.
All right.
What we have is a random president generator. It will pick a
That you
random
just
president.
made.
Yeah, I just made. It's not that impressive. It's like 5
That's
lines
impressive.
of code. It'll give us a random president. We're both gonna guess what year they were inducted into office, like they took office. Whoever is closer gets the point. Our score right now is 17-17. And the first round.
Too bad our score wasn't 17-7-6.
Oh, yeah, too bad, because I would have been dominating you by a
Someone would
lot.
be losing 76-17.
But maybe if we keep playing these games.
We're gonna make one game so wrong that someone's just gonna jump up 100 points.
So our first president is Calvin Coolidge.
All right. Do you have a year?
Yeah. You can go first.
1929.
Okay. Pretty sure that's totally wrong. 1850 is my guess. Calvin Coolidge. Actually,
Are we doing who's closest, or do you have to get it? One of us has to get it.
whoever gets closest. Just like what we did last time. Oh, shoot.
What was it?
Never mind. Whatever. You get it.
Oh, what? What? Am I so off that it's just funny? Is that what happened? How off am I?
Actually, his last year in office was 1929. So
Oh, so I am closest.
you're very close. It's 1923. So I'm wildly off and made fun of you.
You're like, I'm pretty sure that's wrong. You're stupid, and it's embarrassing how off you are. But it's 1850. Boom.
I
point.
apologize.
It's mine.
But the points speak for themselves. You 1817. All right. Next up. Now, this is a good one because I don't think I would have remembered this president. Millard Fillmore.
Oh, boy. I don't even know. All right. You go first. I have a year.
I'm going to go 1890.
Oh. I was going to go 1892.
All right.
And I'm not like making that up. That literally was going to be my guess. I'm not doing Jeopardy. I mean, Price is Right rules.
Son of a gun.
What?
I should have gone with 1850 because that's exactly when it was.
Well, you're closest.
Yeah, I'm closest by 2 points or 2 years. So tied up 1818 after a second round. All right. Next president. I'm just writing down the presidents we already guessed so we don't lose track. James Madison.
Wait, that was the one. We gotta skip it.
You know him already?
I Googled it.
Okay. We'll skip it.
Sorry, I don't understand.
My Google doesn't understand.
Here's one that maybe is a freebie. So we both have to say the answer at the same time. Barack Obama. So on 3, 2, 1, 2008.
Wait, what?
What's your guess for Barack Obama?
Well, it's 2000. Wait, the year he took office?
Yeah.
2009.
Okay. I think you might be right. Let's find out. Yep, you're right. The election was 2008. Good catch. So you get a point.
My strategy of being really confused at what you're trying to do paid off because I had an extra second to think about it.
Well, it's always a good strategy to be careful and take your time. That one I'll never learn. All right, next one, another president I never would have thought of, John Tyler.
Oh, John Tyler. All right. I have a year.
Okay, me too. You want to go first?
1865.
Okay. I'm going to go, that's the end of the Civil War. I'm going to go with 1820.
All right.
$1841. So I
think I got
21 off and you are 24 off.
Wait, 65, 49. Wait, what'd you say?
41.
Oh, yeah. All right, I guess you get it.
Yes. Tying up on this one. James Buchanan.
Hmm. All right, you go first.
I'm gonna go 1800 flat.
I'm gonna go 1833.
All right. You are closest is 1857 is James Buchanan.
I was about to say 1855.
All right. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4,
3-2.
5. Yeah. So we're halfway through. Next. These are really good presidents I never would have thought of. Franklin Pierce.
Okay.
Other than Abe Lincoln, the whole 1800s is like a black box
So
to me.
it's just a random list of slave owners.
Basically. I'm gonna go 1820 on this.
Oh, I was gonna go 1881.
Okay. You're 81
Mm-hmm.
and I'm 20. It was 1853. So I'm 33 off and you are 28 off. So you're closest.
I got it.
Who would have thought?
Probably historians.
Yeah. All these people held the most powerful position in the country and we don't know anything about them.
That's the point of President's Day, is you gotta celebrate it.
Yeah. So maybe it's not so important to be president. Next up is James Monroe.
Okay. I got a year.
All right, I got a year. You gonna go first?
I think I went first last time, didn't
All right, I'm going 1800.
I? Oh, I was gonna go 1817.
All right, James Monroe.
But
Did you know this?
I guessed. It was a total guess.
You guessed it exactly.
Right on the year?
Yep, 1817 is James Monroe.
Wow. That's a good guess.
That is a very good guess. So far, you did that twice with Obama and
Well,
James
Obama's
Monroe.
easy.
I'm doing abysmal at this game.
Well, it's got to be an odd year they take office. For most of them. Maybe except for, ones after assassination.
Yeah,
So,
you're right.
Then.
It would have been anytime a vice president steps in would be the only time that it is not an odd year.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's ever been a time where we're like, let's push the election out.
Not to say people haven't tried.
Yeah, it's true. Setting some precedents. Next up, Joseph R. Biden.
Oh, well, this one's pretty easy. I think we should skip this one.
Can I try it?
Oh, you want to just list last year? Sure.
Okay, I just make sure I wasn't crazy. All right, we'll skip that one. Next up is Herbert Hoover.
Okay.
I need a
have
second.
a year. Okay, I got a year.
gonna go with 1925.
I was gonna go 1917.
Okay. So all I know is he was the right before
He invented the vacuum.
he did. All right. So I am closest, 1929.
Good job. I was almost gonna say 1929, but I thought that was a different guy.
What month was the stock market crash?
It was like the day of, because the new president was like, you know what, we gotta get rid of the stock market. Let's crash it.
Well, I know it was 1929, but he took office in March 4th.
I should start a history podcast.
We just make it all up. There's a pretty good book, Dave Barry's History of the United States or something like that. It's like that.
Oh, I have the audiobook. Dave Cullen, maybe?
Who?
Or no, The People's History of the United States.
By Howard Zinn?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, then never mind.
That's like actually like a good book about that has information in it. I'm talking about Dave Barry, the like comedy newspaper columnist, wrote a funny book on U.S. history where he just kind of like made it up and made a bunch of jokes.
Okay.
Both are good books. I'd recommend them for different reasons.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is Washington George.
Oh, the first one?
Yeah.
All right. Should we say it on the count of three since it's the first president?
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 1791.
1777. Oh, wait, shit. I think you're right.
Yeah, it was
I think
after
it
the
went too early.
Revolutionary War.
I thought it was like the same year.
Yeah, that'd be pretty bold to be like, hey, we're gonna start our own country and I'm the president. What was yours? 1777?
Mm-hmm.
You were wildly off. No, no, I'm kidding. 1789. So I was 2 years off. That's interesting.
All right, last one.
Huh. Okay. Last one, and then we'll finish the show. This one's too easy. It's George W. Bush.
Yeah, get a different one.
All right, this one's a little bit harder. But we can skip it too if you think it's easy. Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Oh, that's a good one. Because I think we'll be in the general ballpark, but we really got to get it.
Yeah.
Because he was president for longer, remind you.
Yeah, but it's not about when
on account of the war.
It's not about how long he was president. It's about when he started.
I know, but like it makes you think like, oh, how long was
Yeah.
All right,
I have
a year.
My guess.
1937.
1933.
Oh, you might be right.
I think I'm spot on because Hoover was right before him, and he was 29. But we'll find out. Yep, 1933.
Well, I guess we both have 5, so I guess that was a pointless game where no one got any points.
So we started 17-17, and then we both had 5. So we're at 22 now each.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's nice to know that this was very anticlimactic and no one got an extra point out of it.
Do you want to do one more to break the tie?
No, I think people like disappointment.
All right. Sounds good.
Who do you got to win the Super Bowl?
I don't know.
Just pick one.
The geopolitical Southeast Asia team.
The Bengals?
Yeah.
Well, then I'm going to bet the Rams, and whoever wins gets a point.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. That's it.
Cool. See ya. Have a good day.
See ya.